Hi guys. Today we're going to talk about Caitlyn and Tyler from Teen Mom. I've been watching something unfold over the last few days, and I've talked before about child privacy and, leaving certain things offline. Like, this digital age is so new and it's so different than what we've been accustomed to existing in for so long. I feel like, the internet can be both good and bad depending on how it's used. And unfortunately, so often I see things being brought to the internet when it should be being dealt with in the privacy of your own home. I literally just talked about this homewrecker couple that's airing all their stuff out on social media. By the way, I'll have an update on that because they have put out new videos. But I want to talk about this thing where Caitlyn and Tyler from Teen Mom have been blocked by the couple that adopted their child back when they were on 16 and pregnant. I guess this has been a long time coming, and as I get into this video, please keep in mind that I am not an avid watcher of Teen Mom. I'm familiar with the characters. I've seen a fair amount of the show, 16 and Pregnant, Teen Mom OG, all that. But I haven't seen everything. So, if y'all know more than me, of course, sound off down below. If you're confused, sound off down below, obviously. But I want to read what Caitlyn said and then what her husband Tyler said. And I'd also like to insert a couple videos from a producer who has put out her opinion, having worked on these MTV shows with Caitlyn and Tyler. So I'm going to be reading a lot in this video. For fair warning, I realize that can be annoying to some people, but that's the whole premise of why everyone's talking about this. Caitlyn started all of this by going on her Instagram stories and sharing that she said she gave them, talking about Brandon and Teresa, the adoptive parents of their child, I gave them one of my biggest gifts ever, a child I grew and loved so deeply. I will not let them take my voice. I post so Carly will hopefully see I have always tried. Adoption is crazy. I'm blocked all because of me sending updates and pictures of her sisters. How is that fair for Carly and her siblings? It's sad for sure, but makes me sad for the kids. When you're a bio mom, you have no say, no control. All I can do is show Carly in the future how much I tried and continue to do so. She can make the decision herself to who shut out who. One thing I don't think Caitlyn and Tyler really understand is, and I'll go into more of this towards the end of the video, I don't think either of them understand that their child is now a teenager. This is not a little girl who, is a toddler and can't speak and can't share her own feelings. They are taking aim at these adoptive parents that have given this child, based on what we know, a very good quality of life. They've kept her out of the spotlight. And Caitlyn and Tyler seem to really take aim at them, not taking into consideration our child is now a teenager. And maybe she has her own emotions, and that has gone into the decision that Brandon and Teresa had to make to block Caitlyn. So after Caitlyn shared that, her husband Tyler took to his Instagram and had this to say. This is very long. Bear with me. I will read it and then I will share my thoughts. I respect everyone's opinion on this sensitive and very personal subject. However, I don't agree with the fact that some people say we've learned how to manipulate situations to be a victim and get sympathy. I require no sympathy and don't ever expect it. I made a decision as a child that will inevitably affect me as an adult and the children I'm raising for the rest of our lives. I deserve all the criticism and judgments that may come out of that decision. I don't want any coddling, nor do I believe I deserve it whatsoever. All I want is the truth to be told and the facts to be known, so that one day, when or if Carly decides to seek answers, she will have all that information and not just the biased, modified, customized information that may come from her parents. There was a lot of unexplained truths behind closed doors regarding Teresa and Brandon's decisions about us having a relationship with Carly. Especially when it comes to MTV, the publicity of our story, their compensation for it, etc. And since they have chosen to finally cut us off, which I believe they have every right to do so, now we have no way of getting this information to Carly if she seeks it out. So that's why we will continue to use our platform as a way to get it to her in case it's needed, regardless of anyone's opinions about it. The recent messages that Kate has posted are only the last few months worth. Once we realized they were refusing to answer us and refusing to talk about why they're upset, it's hard to fix, mend, or apologize if you refuse to communicate your issues with the other person. We have been advised multiple times for years from people to send updates frequently and as often as possible, ranging from adoption specialists, adoptive parents, adoptees, and birth parents who all have more experience than us. So that's what we've been doing. So it's ironic to me that people get upset thinking we don't send enough updates, but yet then get upset thinking that we're sending too much updates. I think he meant to say too many updates. Not that any of those opinions matter in the long run, but the hypocrisy of that perception is very interesting to me, to say the least. One of the things I picked up in the updates that Caitlyn was sharing that she was sending to Teresa to get to her daughter, it was a lot of me. Look what we're doing. Look at all the fun we're having. Look at the things that we're buying. Look at the things we're doing. And it was not a lot of sending questions out to be answered as to what is she doing? What is she doing to get ready for back to school? What is she excited about? What did she do that was fun last weekend? How are her friends? Is she spending time with her friends? Has she learned anything new this summer or over the last few months? So it seemed a little one-sided and not like, hey, this is what we have going on, but I want to know what you have going on because you're my child. I always find it interesting when people jump on social media and they say, oh, well, your opinion doesn't matter. Their opinion doesn't matter. We don't care. We're standing on this decision, but then they go on to write a 6-paragraph essay as to why they're right, even though they don't care about the opinion that they might be wrong. He continued, the decision to finally share the whole truth about our situation didn't come easy, because it seems that whenever we decide to share our feelings about our adoption experience from a birth parent perspective, it's equated to bashing Carly's parents somehow, which we've noticed seems to be a very common reaction from people regarding birth parents sharing their adoption experience, even though we've never called them names or attacked them by doing so. We've spent many years researching the effects that adoption has on adoptees, and we've come to understand just how important and vital it is for the adoptee to have access to their birth parents and what it does for their self-worth and identity as they develop. We've tried sharing this information with Carly's parents to no avail, which is saddening, of course, but mostly heartbreaking for Carly's sake in the end of it all. I completely understand that some people believe we are the bad ones or we are in the wrong. And yes, we have made many mistakes ourselves while navigating this journey from children into adulthood. To be honest, none of that matters in the grand scale of it all because we're all bound to make mistakes at some point as we grow up. But to us, this isn't about right and wrong or good versus bad, because it's actually quite typical for the birth parents to be expected to remain silent and to be ridiculed and judged for having any sort of emotions or reactions to their feelings regarding their own adoption experience, so we're very used to this by now. But for us, this is all about truth. This is about believing that Carly deserves the truth, that she deserves the dignity to make decisions based on all of the facts, that she deserves to have uninfluenced control over her desire or lack thereof to be in our lives and have communication with us and her siblings. So regardless of your opinions and viewpoints about this, we will continue to share our truth. So that way, when Carly decides to be in our lives or not be in our lives, we'll all have peace knowing she made that decision on her own with all the facts pertaining to her very unique adoption situation. And I think that people are here for facts and transparency and all of those things. But the problem is that we're talking about all of this playing out on social media and it not being given directly to the child. It's being put out for public consumption. It's not going from the birth parents to the child. It's going from the birth parents to social media, to gossip sites, to, Reddit and TikTok. And I don't understand how that's going to positively impact this teenager who will be an adult here in a few years. He finished and said, "So you can believe what you want. You can continue to have your own confirmation bias about us and our decisions, and we will continue to share our story for you to have more opinions on in the future, as I'm sure there will be plenty more that come as we lay everything out on the table. Since we hold no shame, no internal struggle or fear about the decisions we've made, we have peace and the freedom that's accompanied with it. And with that peace and freedom, we have nothing left to hide, and we've always been comfortable sharing our uncomfortable truths. Our transparency is our ally, and we refuse to believe anything different. So that's what we will continue to do, to follow our soul's intuition and be transparent for everyone involved."
Catelynn and Tyler Baltierra from Teen Mom are under fire right now for what she's been posting to her Instagram feed. Apparently, Kate got blocked by Teresa, the mother of Caitlyn and Tyler's daughter that they placed for adoption 16 years ago. Kate decided to share all the texts that she has sent Teresa, complete with pictures, stories of what they've been doing, and is now frustrated that she got blocked. Kate goes on to say that Brandon and Teresa are threatened by them. People are grilling Kate over this, saying it's wildly inappropriate. How would you feel if you were an adoptive parent and the birth parent every few days was reaching out with stories and pictures? But Kate is standing 10 toes down and doesn't feel like it's a big deal that she's exposing Teresa and Brandon for, one, blocking her, and then including all the messages that she's been sending them. There has always been tension between Kate and Ty and Brandon and Teresa, and it's so interesting that it cannot be resolved. It's been years and years. Do you think it's okay that Kate put this out to her 4.2 million followers, or should this have been a private family matter? Tyler Baltierra dropped a 5-page essay defending his wife for exposing Brandon and Teresa for blocking them. It's very difficult to read, very long-winded, and there's a lot of excuses as to why they felt that was okay. As someone who has seen almost every episode of Teen Mom, because I worked on that show for 9 years as a producer, this is how I think it went down. First, it probably took a little bit for them to figure out, like, oh, we got blocked. Coming to terms with the fact that she said no more and put up that boundary was probably a shock to their system. Then their egos took over and the entitlement begins. How dare Brandon and Teresa? We gave them Carly. And it's so sad that between the two of them, they couldn't figure out how inappropriate it is to be reaching out to Brandon and Teresa when they're clearly not responding. Tyler ends his 5-page essay saying that they have no shame, no internal struggle, or fear about the decisions they've made, which proves that they're putting themselves first rather than Carly. If you read Tyler's essay, let me know in the comments what your biggest takeaway was, and if it did anything to help change your mind on the situation in their favor.
Now, I want to talk for a second about what a parent's job is. Whether it's birth parent, adoptive parent, doesn't matter. Your job as a parent is to keep your child or your children safe. And based on my perspective, I don't think that airing out everything on social media is safeguarding your child. And like I said in the beginning of the video, neither one of them have even come to consider maybe this teenager is sharing her struggles with this, and she's saying, I don't really like getting these updates, and I don't really want to deal with this right now. And that is okay. And if her parents made the decision after talking with her to say, we're going to cut this off for right now, nothing has to be permanent, and we will revisit it in a month, in 6 months, in a year, or when you tell us you are ready to, then we can revisit it. Maybe they're taking cues from her. So either way, really complex, really just unfortunate that it's playing out on social media, and it's going to continue to play out on social media. But I want to know how y'all feel about this. Do you feel like maybe Brandon and Teresa are listening to what this teenage girl is saying, taking that into consideration and choosing to protect her right now? Do you think that it being put on social media is going to benefit the hope of a relationship once she is an adult? Is that helpful? Like, does it have to be put on social media? Or would it be better to just catalog all this information and then talk to her one-on-one once she is an adult and reaches out? And, either way. But I'd love to know how y'all feel about this, so drop it down below. I will have a new Gypsy Rose video coming out. She and her beau, Ken, decided to jump on a live stream, and it was an absolute circus, as expected, so keep an eye out for that. But for now, if you like the video, please leave a like and a comment, and if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.